The Legion arms have always been a secondary option to your build. They are never going to replace your main weapon as that primary option, mainly because it's not going to output as much damage, and also there isn't really a reliable way to regenerate your Legion. There are some things in the game that can do it, but it's not going to be enough to where you can just like spam this thing the entire time and kill a boss fight just with one Legion arm. But that isn't to say that these things are weak. In fact, there are many Legion arms, especially when you do have them fully upgraded, that can make quick work of a lot of bosses and help you out in many different engagements. And since the DLC releasing, the developers have made a conscious effort to make the Legion arms be more of a prevalent playstyle. And that's not only because of the 2 new Legion arms that they added were kind of just broken, but they also did add like enhanced traits or perks to the P organ, and that also extends to like regeneration of your Legion, so it can just be even faster now. And there is also an amulet that can actually help boost the damage of your Legion arms. Now from my testing, it is only like a 10% damage increase. So it's nothing too crazy, but it definitely does help. But for today, I am going to cover the 2 new Legion arms added in the Overture DLC, and just tell you guys my thoughts on them, break them down, how good they are, how you should use them, and which build you should use them for. Now to start off with, I want to first cover the ICARUS. Now I think the ICARUS is the worst of the 2 Legion arms added to the DLC. Now I do call it the worst out of the 2, but it still is an A tier in my book, because I think that this is the best single target projectile Legion arm in the entire game, just purely based on damage. It is a quality or a balanced Legion arm, because it does get that B scaling in both motivity and technique, which by the time that you get to the DLC and how high of a level you're probably going to be, I wouldn't be going all into an either motivity or technique build. I definitely would be going with a more balanced build, and it's purely based on how like the soft caps work and the fact that you can benefit of just more weapons and Legion arms like this one. So the scalings already make it amazing, but the way that the Legion arm also works is that it is a blade-based projectile. Now this projectile doesn't really go as far as like the Falcon Eyes, so if you wanted like a true projectile option that can hit enemies at a further distance, that one is going to do it at a much safer distance and just do it better overall. But the damage of ICARUS is just undeniable. It could do more damage in a much faster rate, and you can actually throw it out a lot quicker than you can the Falcon Eyes. And the fact that these blades just stay on the same target and hit multiple times means that you can pair this alongside the Arm of God amulet and just instantly gain that time for a buff. So any single time you're walking into a boss room, you pretty much should just like lead off with your Legion arm. Now the damage is somewhat reliant on the enemies staying on the blades, because the blades don't track towards the enemy. So if you are fighting those like skinnier and mobile types of enemies, you might end up missing out on a lot of the damage. But for most of the enemies in the game, you definitely will notice the benefit. Now normally you can only throw out 1 at a time unless you do have it upgraded. For every single upgrade, we'll actually add an additional number of blades to the magazine, holding up to 4 sets of blades. Now just going through the different upgrades that we do have, the first one being Strengthened Blade. When a blade does return back to you, you will gain a damage boost for the next 10 seconds. Now for my testing, this damage boost is roughly around 10%, which doesn't really sound like much, but it pretty much is just a free buff, like you're just getting free damage out of this. So pretty much the way to use it will be throw out a blade, wait for it to return to you, and just make sure to throw it out again anytime within the next 10 seconds to just maximize your damage. The second upgrade is called Double Reload, which this one actually gives you the ability to charge up the blades and throw 2 out at once. Now the thing is, when you do throw these 2 at once, it pretty much does just as much damage as just throwing 2 back to back already without having to charge it, and it will consume just as much Legion as well. Like it can be pretty nice to like hold onto it and like walk around and wait until you have an opening and then throw it out. But when it comes to efficiency, you're much better off just waiting for the blade to return to you so you can throw it out again and actually benefit off that 10% damage buff. However, there is one very big use of this, and that is when you almost have run out of Legion. Because there is technically no requirement for this double charging effect, if you only have enough Legion to just throw out the 1 blade, you can still fully charge it and throw out the 2. And if you do have those perks that give you automatic Legion regeneration, as soon as you actually meet the requirements, you might as well just fully charge it, because it's pretty much double the damage for the exact same price of 1. And the last upgrade is called Rotate Throw, which upon clicking the Legion arm button, you can hold on to it if you want to as well, and clicking triangle, which is typically your Fable Art button, it will do this unique attack that throws out 4 blades surrounding the player in this like circular motion, and it will like circle around 4 times. So yes, it actually can hit up to 16 different blades. Now the thing is, this consumes a Fable charge, and it also consumes like so much Legion. Like pretty much 60% of your Legion bar is pretty much just gone. Now it can be pretty good at hitting multiple enemies if you are surrounded. If you are fighting those like larger bosses, it can put in some work as well. But the thing is, it pretty much does just as much damage as like 3 regular attacks. and it does that same damage while having to consume one Fable charge and a lot more of your Legion energy. But you actually can use this the exact same way I talked about the double reload perk, in that there is no Legion requirements to actually use this, so you can have just the smallest little bit of Legion left in your bar and you can still use this particular skill. So yeah, overall the ICARUS is an amazing Legion arm. It's not going to be that true projectile option, so it's not like you can use this Legion arm at bow range or at the Falcon Eyes range. You have to be somewhat closer to the enemy, which might make it a little bit more risky. But for most bosses and enemies in the game, you still are going to be sitting at a safer distance and is benefit of a lot of damage. So if you are struggling with a particular type of enemy, just throw in the ICARUS. Just throw out these blades once every 10 seconds and you'll be fine. But next, I am going to talk about the Cataclysm, to what I think is the best and most broken Legion arm in the entire game. There is no like projectile Legion arm that can make you do as much damage in one hit as this one. It's the best at crowd control, it's the best at staggering, and honestly, I think this is the best thing to use against bosses as well, as I will get into. But yeah, this is a motivity-based Legion arm. Does get a C scaling and technique as well. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is me using it with like a quality or a balanced base build, where I have equal of both, which as I mentioned earlier, by the time that you get to the DLC, and if you are using like a motivity or a technique based build, I would kind of just try and balance those stats out, just so you can maximize the damage of Legion arms like this one. But yeah, the Cataclysm is a shotgun Legion arm that has a pretty decent horizontal spread, obviously not going to go that far. You will have to take a few more steps forward compared to the ICARUS if you did want to hit an enemy, but it still is a projectile, means that you still can be at a safer distance. And the damage is also really good as well. Now the single target damage is not going to be good as the ICARUS, however, that is assuming that you actually hit with every single blade of the ICARUS, because yeah, as I mentioned, against those skinnier and faster targets, the ICARUS doesn't really do as well, and the Cataclysm pretty much does well against everything. It has that nice horizontal spread, and it does all the damage in just one hit, and it has some upgrades that just make this thing broken. The first upgrade is called Counterattack, which increases the damage inflicted when an enemy is attacking. Now the window for landing this counterattack can be pretty small, but if you do land it, it can be up to 50% more damage, which is just ridiculous. But obviously, landing a counterattack every single time is pretty much impossible. The second upgrade is called Charge Dodge, which actually gives you the ability to dodge while charging. Now this thing is incredibly underrated, because one thing I haven't really mentioned about the charge attack is that it can poise break or stagger an enemy, which is just absurd. Like if you're using a weapon that has like a pretty slow heavy attack and a boss is being really aggressive and you're that one charged heavy attack away from getting that stagger, but you're not confident that you're going to find the opening, you could just use the Cataclysm. Just charge it up, dodge the attacks, and as soon as you have the smallest opening, just let go. Now this charging attack does consume a lot of Legion. Like this charge attack, for comparison, will consume more Legion than 2 ICARUS blades. But the fact that it gives you that utility to stagger and do it in such a quick animation in just one hit, in a nice horizontal spread, it's definitely worth it. And when it does come to the last effect, it is called Perfect Reload, which pretty much enables you to get even more damage with your fully charged effect, assuming that you do time it correctly. And pretty much to time it correctly, all you're going to do is like hear that specific sound that it makes. And as soon as you hear that sound, you just let go, and it does like a beefed up version of the charge attack that consumes just as much Legion, but it can just do like an additional 20% more damage. And also just do like insane and amazing knockback. Like it can send enemies flying, shatter them into pieces. It's just ridiculous. And another thing that I've yet to mention is that you can actually store this fully charged effect too, and actually have it be the perfect fully charge. When you just do hold on to it for a few seconds, you can store this fully charged effect, and the next time that you click the Legion arm button, it'll do the fully charged attack in just an instant. And you can store this effect for 30 seconds. Now do keep in mind is that it will consume a little bit of Legion if you do try to store it. But honestly, it's kind of worth it because everyone should be using the auto regenerate Legion perk on the P organ. And by the time that your 20 or 30 seconds is up, you're going to regenerate all that Legion back anyway. Which that is the exact reason why I prefer this for bosses. It is not just based on the stagger, it's based on the fact that you can get so much damage in one hit if you only have a little bit of Legion left. As I mentioned for the ICARUS, if you have that auto Legion recharge, you only need to meet the requirement for the 1 blade just to be able to use it, and therefore you can just charge it up and gain the benefit of 2 blades. And the same thing is true for the Cataclysm. You only need to meet the Legion requirements for the regular uncharged attack, but you can just use it fully charged, and if you do get that perfect reload, you're getting like 3 times as much damage as you normally would. And a fully charged Cataclysm does way more damage than a fully charged ICARUS could ever do. And the best part about all of this is that it's so incredibly fun to use. Like, it's the most satisfying thing, like seeing so many enemies like walk up to you at once and realizing how annoying it's going to be just trying to hit them all to death with your weapon, but you just have this midi pocket shotgun sitting right on your hand that can just obliterate them all in an instant. It's so fucking cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for this one. I did do a lot of yapping just talking about 2 separate Legion arms, but it was definitely worth it. Both of these are just incredible, and if you haven't used them already, please do, just use them. Like, they're that fun. But as for the next upcoming videos, I still gotta talk about the amulets, I still gotta talk about the weapon combinations. I might make a video about the bosses as well, who knows. So definitely do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys around. See yas!